Okay, so is there any type of disposal that you have to do with the chemicals themselves? So once again, I have to legally tell you that your local authority having jurisdiction, that's between you and them. But so generally speaking, here's what I would say. Generally speaking, there is more phosphate in fertilizer than there is in the chemical that you clean the parts with. The pH of what you clean the parts with is not very much off the 6 to 8 range, which is neutral, which is water, right? So and you're mixing that 95% water to 5% chemical, and then you're rinsing it with water. So therefore it is very highly diluted by the time of there's anything that needed to be carried off or whatever. So typically a codes person who was looking at that, the very first thing they would do be check the pH, and the pH in most cases is not going to be that far off. But if they really were to look at it, the question becomes total dissolved solids. It becomes, so when you wash aluminum, the phosphates and things pull zinc out of the aluminum. So now you have heavy metals in it. So you have those solids. That is what the concern may be. Now, if you contain the water, like the basin you will see tomorrow, if you contain the water and then were to end up with 300 gallons of it and you paid to have it carried off, you're paying to have 300 gallons of water treated that has very little stuff in it that would trigger something, right? But if you took that same water and ran it through an evaporator and evaporated the actual water off of it, that 300 gallons of water would become 1/2 teaspoon of a solid. That would be something somebody would worry about. So if you build a containment basin out of metal, right? So whatever you're spraying, if you build that out of metal and then were to pick that thing up as it got water in it and set it like inside of an oven or whatever to evaporate the water, or buy an evaporator or whatever to evaporate the water off of it, you've got a lot less stuff you have to worry about. It's mostly water. An evaporator would be your friend. Some way to evaporate would be your friend, which is what I like about large part about this steam unit. You'll see tomorrow that steam unit, that containment basin's been sitting there for 2.5 years, I think, 3 years maybe. And that basin's never filled up. Because it's so hot, it evaporates because of the heat in the building anyway, and there's so little water that gets there. That's what I like about the steam unit.